Hey guys, what's up? Jimmy here with another Lots of Games video. So last week, my boss actually came back from Japan, and he went to some of the electronic stores. And this is my boss. He has a PlayStation 3, but he said offhand in the past that there's no way that he's interested in a PlayStation 4. He's not going to get a PlayStation 4 years to come. He's hardly touches his PlayStation 3. He doesn't play games that often. Okay, but while in one of the electronic stores in Japan, he came back with this flyer for the Order 1886, okay? The exclusive for the PlayStation 4. I'm going to tell you guys about what he said at the end of this video, but before I do, I started thinking about exclusives and how important are exclusives, and do exclusives really sell consoles? Do they sell a lot of consoles? Are exclusives important to you? For those of you guys out there that bought the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4 or both, was the tipping point, was a big majority of the reason for you purchasing that console or those consoles because of exclusives? I definitely am curious in the comment section below. And not too long ago, I did a top 10 list for the best-selling games on the PlayStation 4, and there's actually been an update since then. And I wanted to talk about exclusives and just quickly go over the top 10 selling games, and I found something really, really interesting. Take a look here at the top 10 selling Wii U games, okay? If you noticed, all of these games you cannot find except for on the Wii U. Now, granted, I would say maybe Zelda, The Wind Waker is an exclusive. It is the HD version. You can only get it on the Wii U, but technically, I wouldn't really say it's an exclusive because you can also play it on the GameCube. But anyway, pretty much is every single game, even the top 12 or 13 are games you can only get on the Wii U, which I found is very impressive. But seeing that, you're like, oh, exclusives are so important. Exclusives sell consoles. But the Wii U is in dead last, okay? Let's move on now to the Xbox One. The Xbox One, Titanfall, not an exclusive. It's also available for the Xbox 360 and PC. Now, I know a lot of you guys might be looking at this list and going, hey, Jimmy, wait a second. What about Halo the Master Chief Collection? That's an exclusive. That's only available for the Xbox One. True, that is only available for Xbox One, but what is this game? What is this collection? Well, it's Halo 1, 2 through 4. You can get Halo 1 and 2 on the original Xbox, and you can get Halo 3 and 4 on the Xbox 360. This more or less is just an HD remake version, it's a pretty sweet remade version, especially with the new remade cutscenes. But, you can play Halo 1 and 2 on the original Xbox and Halo 3 and 4 on the Xbox 360. The only true sequel on the Xbox One that's in the top 10 list is Forza 5. Xbox One actually did very, very well for the Christmas season. We talk a little bit more about the Xbox One after the PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 4, let's take a look at the top 10 selling games. Not a single exclusive in the top 10 selling games for the PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 4 is the best-selling console by far right now. They just recently announced on how it sold 18.5 million consoles. You'd think like, oh man, PlayStation 4, it must have tons of exclusives, and these exclusives must sell like crazy. Not really the case. PlayStation 4 does have good exclusives, but for one reason or another, games like Infamous Second Son haven't cracked the top 10 list. Gamers are buying Call of Duty and FIFA, okay? I know that a lot of people play Call of Duty and FIFA, that's great. But as far as exclusive consumption, going out and buying exclusives, it's a little bit to be desired, in my opinion. And that's kind of sad if you think about it, because, I don't know, it's just kind of a low attach rate of, you get that console, you're like, oh, exclusives are so important, these exclusives get released, and not a lot of people buy them, which is really sad in my opinion. Not a single game. Now, a lot of people would say that The Last of Us Remastered is an exclusive, but The Last of Us, it's also on the PlayStation 3, okay? And granted, you can only get the remastered on the PlayStation 4, but you can also play The Last of Us on the PlayStation 3. So, anyway, let's come back to, on, I believe, Christmas time in America, and I think also the UK, Xbox One actually sold better than the PlayStation 4. And in my opinion, what it comes down to the thing is, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, they both have exclusives. But here's the thing, during this time, and also a lot of times during the year, gamers like you and me, we're buying consoles. That is true. However, that $50 price cut during the Christmas time for the Xbox One, I think, really sealed the deal for a lot of parents and a lot of grandparents. Oftentimes, it really isn't about the exclusives for a lot of these people. It's about what's cheaper, what's convenient. And I feel that's what the case was with the Xbox One and why it sold better. They were probably neck and neck, but what did it was that $50 price cut. They're like, you know what? Most of the games that my grandkid or my son wants to play, I can also play on the Xbox One, like FIFA and Call of Duty. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts in the section below on exclusives and how important they are to you, and your thoughts about, there being no real exclusives in the top 10 selling game for the PlayStation 4. 2015 is going to be a great year for the PS4. There's going to be some great exclusives, but are they going to crack the top 10 list? We'll have to wait and see on that. But anyway, back to the flyer that my boss saw. I showed him some gameplay for the Order 1886, and he thought it was a cutscene at first, like some of the shooting. And you know what? Our conversation he had, he's like, man, I'm going to have to think of a way to tell my wife that I really need to get a PlayStation 4. It's exclusives like this that Sony is really, really hoping will sell consoles. It's very competitive out there. There's a lot of great games out for the Wii U, Xbox One, and PS4. And a lot of gamers or consumers, they aren't sure which console to buy. And a lot of consumers out there, they're not going to be buying 20 or 30 games. They might be only buying like, a half dozen games, in the next few years. It's going to be really interesting to see how these exclusives kind of tip the scales for some of these consumers and some of these gamers. Anyway, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you later.